Hi everyone, I'm the Boston Potta. As they would say in Boston, let's get started. This video is a dry brushing technique, and it's for this little manatee here, and it's acrylics. I'm just going to show you a simple way to dry brush, and before I dry brush it, this is the way I do this technique here. I'm going to paint him all black. This is just the black acrylic, and you just need one coat. You want to make sure you get it in the crevices, because that's more important. That's the most important part, because that's the part that you're gonna see the black. So it's important, get it in the crevices. Don't leave any white spots. This is what you want to do. So just one coat of the black. You can see how these acrylics work. One coat is covering it, okay? One coat is pretty good. When you dry brush, you're going to need a couple of coats, because several coats, because that's what dry brushing is, but it's very quick. But you will cover this. Okay, so make sure you get down inside the crevices here. Okay, it's hard to see now because he's covered in black. Okay, now acrylics dry very quick, so this is going to dry very quick, but you do have to let it dry before you can do any dry brushing. Make sure you don't glob it. Double check, tip it upside down, make sure there's no white spots. Okay, so he's good. So I'm going to put him down. Oh, I see a white spot. Okay, I'm going to put him down to dry. Okay, just let him dry for a few minutes. Okay, now that it's dry, I'm going to show you how to dry brush. Okay, so we're going to use a little bit of this gray. This is the gray acrylic potty paint. Okay, now these are what dry brushes usually look like. They're white. They're usually white tipped like this. Sometimes they stain because they use with acrylics, but even the stain, it doesn't come off once you start dry brushing with it. As long as it's dry, it'll be fine. So now, in order to dry brush, you're gonna wet it because it's wet. Okay, so you're wetting it with the gray paint. You're wetting the brush. But before I put it on the piece, I'm going to dry it off on a paper towel. So that's the whole idea, is to dry it off. And then you want to go the opposite way of the grain. You'll see it as I'm doing it. Okay, it's kind of quick because you're not putting a lot of paint on. And I'm going to hold this up a little bit closer so you can see it. It doesn't look good on the first coat. It doesn't look good at all. But so you don't want to go the way of the grain, because then you would be filling in those crevices, and that's what you want to keep black. That's the whole idea. So so you're going to wet it again. Always wipe it off on the paper towel before you go and brush it on the piece. The more you get off, the better it's going to look, because you want it to be going on kind of dry, but yet you're still putting it on the piece. But you kind of just, if you watch the way I'm doing this with the brush, you can see that, okay, so now even on the flat spots, that doesn't have any crevices, I'm still kind of keeping the brush dry. Now on the flats, on the smooth areas, it doesn't matter whether I go this way, I go this way. The whole idea is to wet it, dry it off. I'm going to show you this whole first coat and what it looks like, and because you might think you're doing it wrong when you see it, because it kind of looks kind of messy, but it isn't, because by the time you get to your last coat, it looks really nice. So so I'm just holding it from the bottom here because it makes it easier to get the whole piece. So you want to try not to cover the crevices. If you got too much paint on there, wipe a little off, brush it out. But this is what dry brushing is, and this is what makes it look soft. That's why when people ask me, oh, do you spray it with an acrylic spray after? No, I don't. I like it to be, I like that soft look. I like it to look like a soft matte finish. I don't like a glossy finish. So these paints, these acrylics are self-sealing. They'll be fine, and you can even put it outside. It will be fine. I mean, I wouldn't leave it out all winter in a bunch of snow and ice and stuff, but I mean, you can put it outside. If it gets wet, nothing's going to happen to it. The paint's not going to peel off. This paint is self-sealing. It's like the paints we always had many years ago that was self-sealing. If you want to seal it because you feel safer, you can use like a maybe a Mod Podge mat or something and brush it. You can spray it if you want. We just don't recommend it. You don't need to. If you're going to do that, then why go through the trouble of dry brushing? Because the whole idea about dry brushing is leaving it in the crevices, making it look nice and soft. So if you're going to gloss it up, then you probably wouldn't want to dry brush. You may want to do a different, just paint it on. But then if you want to see it, see how, okay, so this is like one coat. See how it looks? It's looks kind of weird, you know. Doesn't look great. But once you get it done, once you get the next coat on, it starts to look a little better. But you still have that black under there. You still have the crevices. You'll see when I'm done. The nice thing about dry brushing or about doing a piece in acrylics is when I'm done, I'm done. I don't have to fire it, don't have to do anything. It's going to be very cute. It takes a little more work because you're doing it this way because it's taking a few coats. But as you can see, the coats go on very, very quickly. You don't have to, it's going to dry so quick that you don't have to wait like, oh, I got to wait till that coat dries and put another coat on. Usually it dries quick enough that you don't have to do that. So, as you can see, that's coat number 2. Oh, I missed a spot here. Okay, now you can see this is coat number 2, okay? So you can see how it looks, even the flat side, the smooth side without the crevices. Okay, now I'm going to put on coat number 3. Still wetting and drying it off. And then I'm going over the third coat, and you can see how I'm brushing it. I'm just brushing it very quickly. You don't have to go in any certain direction, especially on the smooth areas, because you're more or less just getting it on there. You know, you kind of want some black to show through a little bit. But when you get down around to the front, you want to be careful the direction, because I'm not going to go this way because all my crevices will cover up. So I want to kind of take my time a little bit on this area and go the opposite way of the crevices. So that I can get this whole piece and still leave, you know, it'll all be gray, and then leave the top part, leave the crevices so that it looks nice, and you can see the green, the black in there. So this is my next coat, my third coat actually. Yeah, I'll probably take 4. I think 4 coats would be good, but it's like I said, they're not full coverage coats. They're just coats to cover the, you know, just to, they're quick coats, you can see. I'm not painting the whole piece. I'm just kind of dry brushing, so it's a little bit different. I want to leave some black. I'm going to get under here. Okay, now that's the third coat. Now each coat it takes a little bit longer to dry, okay? So you got to let that dry a little bit. I don't want the eyes too black, so I'm going to get into the eyes a little bit. Okay, now once that dries, I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to do my last coat, and then I'll be able to do my eyes. I am going to put a little bit of this taupe color in there. Now I've got the white, I got black, I got gray so far, and I've got taupe. Now the taupe, my last coat, I think I'm going to put a little taupe on there because I want them to look more taupe looking than I do gray. Okay, but I like to have the gray underneath. So then I'm going to put the taupe on top. So you're going to see both, but you're still going to see the black through it also. That's what this dry brushing is, okay? Okay, now I'm going to try to put that on. I think it's dry enough. I'm going to try. Now I'm going to use the same brush with the gray on it. But I'm going to take it and I'm going to get some of the gray out by just dry brushing because I don't want to wet it. Okay? So as you can see, it's taking, so my brush is still dry, okay? Now I'm going to get some of this taupe color on it. It's okay if there's still a little gray in the brush. Okay? Now I'm going to wipe it off on the paper towel again. And now I'm going to start putting that taupe color on there. He's still very soft looking. I might put a second coat of the taupe. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes. Okay, here's my last coat of this taupe color. I'm going to make sure I'm a little careful because I want to make sure I got it all. I'm going to go a little bit slower going on my last coat. I want to make sure he looks really cute and nice and soft. Okay, now he's basically done, other than doing his eyes. That's about all I have to do. So you can see he's very cute. See how he looks without the eyes, before the eyes. Okay, so the only thing we have left on here is the eyes. So you want to use a little bit of white acrylic, and what you want to do is put the white in the eyes, leave the black around the edge of the eye so you don't have to do any outlining. I will hold this up in a second. You want to use a very tiny brush for this. Okay, so you can leave, like I said, leave the edges a little bit if you want. So all this I did with this is just put the white in the eyes. Now I'm going to put the black. I'm going to put a little black circle in the eye. I'm going to stop right here. Okay, so you can see the white in the eyes. Now I'm going to put the black in the eye, which is the pupil. You want to put that on a little bit heavy, because if you don't, you're going to have to do several coats. You only have to do one coat of this, okay? So, okay, this is what it should look like next, right here. Rinse your brush. Now, you always want, I think I've said this before with the eyes, you always want, you dip it in the white, and you're going to put a little white dot. Now, I'm doing it while it's wet. You should let the black dry first, but it'll still be okay. I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to let it dry. Okay, so I'm going to put the little white spot on the eyes, okay? So that's what he looks like now. Now, if you want, you can go mix a little bit of red, or you can use pink, but I have the white here, I have the red here. I'm going to put a drop of red. I'm going to mix the red into the white, make a little bit of a pink, just a little pink to put on the tongue, just to give it a little bit color. I'll show you this in a second with that same small brush. And then he is basically done. So this is the manatee. So you can see his eyes. He's basically finished. And that's how he looks, very soft looking. And that's it.